Hello there everybody, how's it going and how have you been? I am EuclideanSqd, and we're back here in Duel Links to cover the Jack Atlas Unlock event. Now, on one hand, I'm happy with this event because we get a new character, there's new cards, so that's cool. And on the not necessarily unhappy hand, but the more unsurprised hand, I guess, I have found that Jack Atlas's decks are exactly the same as they were when he was a roaming duelist several months ago. So, to farm him, we are going to be using the same strategy as we were several months ago. That is Cloudians. I know, just genius deck strategies, aren't they? So basically, just going to give a quick rundown of this deck because this is going to be like it feels like the 8th time I've used this thing in an event duel. This deck relies on Cloudian Acid Cloud, Cloudian Cirrostratus, and Cloudian Turbulence to sit there and absorb hits so the Jap cannot attack you directly, as well as the spell card Sanctuary in the Sky, or the trap card Spirit Barrier to block damage. As soon as you have one card of both categories in play, Jack is completely and utterly helpless. There is no spell and trap destruction in his deck, he has no monster card destruction, he can do nothing to break that lock until he runs out of cards and loses, until you decide to just knock him out. There's nothing he can do. While you have him locked up, golden ladybugs are used to recover your life points, so that on the final turn of the duel you can tribute summon Neo Parshoth to the Sky Paladin. So long as Sanctuary in the Sky is in play, Neo Parshoth gains attack and defense equal to the difference in your life between your life points and your opponent's life points. So if you are 4,000 points ahead, Parshoth gains 4,000 attack and defense, for example. And the idea being that Neo Parshoth is a somewhat cheaper version of the Winged Dragon of Ra. And I do want to bring this up again just because I like reiterating it whenever I show off this deck. Ra is a slightly better option, simply because there is a bonus for summoning a divine monster, and because of the way that Ra's effect works, it also reduces your life points down to 100, which gets you a few more bonus points because you won the duel on very low life points. But the reason that I'm using Neo Parshoth is that I like to try and use the cheapest, easiest to access cards possible, and I just don't know how you get your hands on Ra at the moment. When I got my copy of the Winged Dragon of Ra, it was because it was part of a bonus for the Yami Merrick event. Because Yami Merrick is at the gate, at least I'm pretty sure he's at the gate, I don't know how you unlock Ra at the moment. It might just be a bonus that shows up when you get Yami Merrick unlocked. It might be something completely different. I don't know how you get your hands on Ra. So if you're a new player and you don't have it, Neo Parshoth is an alternative. That said, Neo Parshoth does require you to cash in a super rare ticket at the PvP arena. You might be able to get a copy of it using your Karibo tickets with the whole Train Your Karibo event that Konami has that reactivates every month or so. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't remember if the Karibo ticket lets you get Neo Parshoth or if it just lets you get card drops from any player, for example, or from any legendary duelist. But Neo Parshoth is an alternative. If you don't have access to Neo Parshoth, I'm not entirely sure what to tell you. This deck strategy kind of relies on using one or the other, so just saying, you kind of need one or the other if you want to use this deck. But additionally, there are 3 copies of Pot of Benevolence and 3 copies of Good Goblin Housekeeping in here. Jack does have a somewhat decent amount of deck fitting power. He has cards that can search out his tuner monsters. He has a card that lets him draw 2 cards. So long as he controls Red Dragon Archfiend, I should make that clear, but he almost always synchro summons for that thing pretty early on in the duels, so it's very likely he will be able to use that spell. The main point I'm getting at is that you can use Pot of Benevolence to send cards from his graveyard back into his deck to kind of negate all of his draw power, and something like Good Goblin Housekeeping to draw your own cards, just so that you can get ahead of him and finish the duel as quickly as possible, which is still probably going to take a while. Now, if you don't have Good Goblin Housekeeping, you can use Jar of Greed. A much better option would be to use the spell card Shard of Greed. However, in this particular instance, the reason why I am using this trap card, aside from it being easier to get than the Shard of Greed, is that I'm using this deck with Akiza so I can access her balance skill. And balance specifically is a skill that says that your starting hand will try to reflect the balance of cards you have in your deck, but you have to have at least 6 monsters, 6 spells, and 6 traps in your deck in order for this skill to work. So, because Shard of Greed is a spell card, that would mean that I'd only have 3 trap cards and the skill would not activate. And so far, both times that I've tried this deck, I have gotten at least workable starting hands, so balance seems to be cooperating, at least for now. So, Shard of Greed is a much better alternative just because 3 copies of that will get you 6 cards as opposed to Good Goblin Housekeeping's 3 or Jar of Greed's 3, but know that it won't let you use balance if you go that route. And then lastly, Anti-Magic Arrows. I'm 95% certain you don't have to have this card in your deck. I don't think Jack has any cards that can stop an attack once you declare it. I like keeping it in here just kind of as an emergency failsafe, or I guess more just peace of mind so that I don't have to worry about his spell or trap cards once I'm ready to knock him out and deal over 10,000 damage. Before I forget, one other card that you may want to look into, again, if you have access to it, is you could try swapping out a Euclidean Turbulence or 2 for this thing, Zeradias, Herald of Heaven. And pardon me just a moment, is recording? Yes, it is. Okay, Zeradias, Herald of Heaven. You can discard this card to the graveyard to add a Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. So if you happen to start with that thing in your hand, but not Sanctuary in the Sky or Spirit Barrier, you can at least make sure you get something that blocks battle damage. It is a fairy, so if you already have either card in play, Zeradias will absorb an attack at the very least, but it can be destroyed in battle, unlike the Cloudians. And more importantly, if you don't have Sanctuary in the Sky in play, Zeradias will destroy itself the instant it is turned face up. I mean, I think the battle still has to finish first, but the point is, don't normal summon this thing if you do not have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field. The main reason I am saying if you have this, and another main reason why I am not using this in this example deck, is that Zeradias was only available as part of an event that was held many, many months ago. So, if you don't have him, I don't think there's any way to get him. I mean, again, maybe the Karibo tickets will let you get a copy or two. I can't remember what the Karibo tickets let you get and not get, so there you go. Anyway, moving along. So, Jack does have a few new cards. His new normal is absolutely terrible. It's a level 6 Fire Dragon, 1700 attack, 1900 defense. Not really worth it. I don't know why you'd ever want to use this card, ever. So, if you get it, yeah, kind of a waste. His next new cards are Scarlet Security. This is a spell card that says if you control a red Dragon Archfiend, destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. So, very powerful spell card, but you would pretty much have to use it in a deck that has Jack's Mark of the Dragon skill on it, because that is currently the only way to get a copy of Red Dragon Archfiend. And his new ultra rare is Strong Wind Dragon. This thing is actually a very good card. This is a level 6 Wind Dragon, 2400 attack, 1000 defense. Cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster that has the same attack. But that's not the good part. If this card is tribute summoned by tributing a dragon-type monster, it gains attack equal to half the original attack of the tributed monster. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, it does piercing battle damage. So, let's just say you have an 1800 attack point monster, a dragon-type monster. You tribute that for Strong Wind Dragon. Strong Wind Dragon suddenly becomes a 3300 attack point monster that does piercing damage. Pretty strong. And if you want to go full-on crazy, considering there are cards that make it fairly easy to summon something like, say, Blue Eyes White Dragon or Red Eyes Black Dragon, Strong Wind Dragon can suddenly become a 3600 or a 3900 attack point monster that required 1 tribute that also does piercing battle damage. Very powerful card. Additionally, Jack still has his small piece, medium piece, and big piece golems. The main thing that these do is small piece golem will summon a medium piece, and medium piece will summon a small piece so long as you control a big piece golem. And big piece golem is different in that it says if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you can normal summon this thing without tributing. Not bad for 2100, but the main point is to put things on the field that you could then synchro summon with, or fuse for his older ultra rare multiple piece golem. This is a level 7 Earth Rock fusion, 2600 attack, 1300 defense. It is created from big piece golem and medium piece golem. At the end of the battle phase, if this card attacked or was attacked, you can return it to the extra deck and then special summon all of the fusion material monsters that were used in its summoning, so long as they are all still in the graveyard. So, interesting. I'm not entirely sure why you would send it back into your extra deck. I suppose if it got weakened somehow in an attack, but it managed to survive, you can at least get a 2100 and a 1600 back. It's not too terrible, but it does happen at the end of the battle phase, so you can't attack with the 2 golems afterwards. Additionally, his other rare is fairly good. It's Mad Archfiend, a level 4 Dark Fiend, 1800 attack, 0 defense. It does piercing battle damage, however, if it is targeted for an attack while in face-up attack position, it automatically changes to defense position. So it can deal a lot of damage, but it's also incredibly easy for your opponent to take down. Hopefully you have some means of protecting it if you want to use it. And then his other super rares are Flare Resonator, a level 3 Fire Fiend tuner, 300 attack, 1300 defense, and whatever synchro monster used this thing as synchro material gains 300 attack. And then he has Lancer Archfiend, a level 4 Dark Fiend, 1600 attack, 1400 defense. And it basically says that once per turn, when a monster you control declares an attack against a defense position monster of your opponent's, Lancer Archfiend can basically give it a one-time use of piercing battle damage. So it can just give anything piercing. Also pretty cool. And that's basically all of his rewards. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a successful example farm off. And I was just pausing for a moment to make sure that I had the correct deck equipped, because there was one time I accidentally went in with the wrong deck. And still managed to win, but it was still a little frustrating not getting a whole bunch of points for that. So for anybody that's been around for a while and has seen this Euclidean deck in action before, it's going to be the same thing. This is actually an absolutely amazing starting hand, because we have a Golden Ladybug, so we can immediately start getting life points. Sanctuary in the Sky and Euclidean to block battle damage. And just, yeah, like, this is awesome. And just like that, Jack is completely powerless from turn 1. So, while we just go through the motions of this, let's see. Jack does not use Strongwind Dragon. He has Mad Archfiend. He has Twin Sword Marauder, which is a monster that also does piercing battle damage, and I think its effect says that if it attacks something in defense position, it can attack again, or it can attack another monster that same turn. He has this Power Invader monster, which is a level 5 Dark Fiend, I think. But more to the point, its effect says that if your opponent controls 2 monsters, you can normal summon it without tributing. And he will also frequently use this Synchro Boost Equip spell, which gives the equipped monster 500 attack and increases its level by 1. And a lot of his deck is really geared around synchro summoning for his Red Dragon Archfiend monster, which, if you are not using a very strong locking strategy like this, like these Euclideans, can be very, very intimidating to deal with. Doesn't seem like he's going to do it in this duel, because his AI is being a bit weird. But Red Dragon Archfiend is a level 8... I don't know why I'm not using Good Goblin Housekeeping. Red Dragon Archfiend is a level 8 Dragon-type Synchro monster. I'm just gonna send that back. It has 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense. And I'm trying to remember how all of its effects work. I think it's like... if it attacks a monster in defense position, it destroys all defense position monsters your opponent controls, I want to say. But it also does have a bit of a downside in that it says if any of your monsters did not declare an attack during your turn, they are destroyed. Other than Red Dragon Archfiend. Oh. Other than the Red Dragon Archfiend itself. That is, if he has 2 Red Dragon Archfiends, both need to attack, or otherwise one will destroy the other. And that does also apply to monsters in defense position, so basically once he puts a Red Dragon Archfiend out, or more importantly, once you unlock Jack and start using Red Dragon Archfiend for yourself, you pretty much cannot be on the defensive anymore. You cannot leave anything in defense mode, otherwise Red Dragon Archfiend will simply torch it. And yeah, looks like I got its effects correct. It destroys all defense position monsters your opponent controls if it attacks something in defense mode, and it destroys everything of yours that does not attack along with it. Oh, and it accepts any tuner and any one or more non-tuners. So, really easy to synchro summon too. Let's go ahead and toss the other Sanctuary in the Sky back into the deck. So, now this is the only slightly annoying thing about this, is that once he does create Red Dragon Archfiend, all of his other monsters are going to be attacking you, even though they can't do anything, just so that he doesn't lose them to Red Dragon Archfiend's effect. Let's see, what am I going to do? I'm going to send back his Mad Archfiends, because those are some of the least threatening cards in his graveyard right now. But, he can't, like I said, he cannot do anything, even though he will continually swing at your monsters and try to destroy them, just constantly attacking over and over. It's just, the AI does not want to lose its monsters to Red Dragon Archfiend, and the only reason that's kind of annoying is it makes the duels take a little bit longer, just because you have to wait through 1 or 2 attacking animations, depending on what the AI decides to do. Let's see, since we're still just kind of sitting here staring at each other, good targets for your Pot of Benevolence are going to be Mad Archfiend, Twin Sword Marauder, Power Invader, if that thing ever goes into the graveyard. I don't think I've ever seen it go. Usually he summons it after he's been able to summon Red Dragon Archfiend. So I don't think I've ever actually seen Jack synchro summon with it. What else is important to remember? I'm just going to send anti-magic arrows, that'll be fine. Oh, another primary target is, as soon as I activate my Golden Ladybugs, this thing, Wandering King Wildwind. I'm pretty sure Jack only has 1 copy of this thing in his deck. However, during his main phase, aside from the turn that it goes to the graveyard, he can banish it and search out a Fiend-type tuner with 1500 or less attack, which is, spoiler warning, all three tuners that he uses in his deck. So this is one of the cards that he can use to search for things. The other one is his spell card Resonator Call, which just adds any Resonator from his deck to his hand. So I would definitely say send Wildwind back, because it has to be in the graveyard to use its effect, but do not send Resonator Call back. Because if he draws it, he'll just activate it, search out a Resonator, and that's kind of undoing what your Pot of Benevolences are supposed to do. Go ahead and send these Spirit Barriers, because I don't need these anymore. Definitely do not send this Red Dragon face back. This is the card that lets him draw 2 cards if he controls a Red Dragon Archfiend. He can't normal or special summon monsters the turn he activates the card, but it doesn't matter because he has a Red Dragon Archfiend. Yeah, basically don't send that card back to his deck. I mean, unless obviously he loses his Red Dragon Archfiend somehow. Don't send any of his tuners back, because if he happens to have a Resonator Call in his hand, and to be fair, if he had a Spell Trap Card Zone to activate in, he could just search for them. So primarily focus on his level 4 monsters and Synchro Boost is what I would say are the prime targets for using your Pot of Benevolence on. You're gaining a ton of life points, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start replacing the Euclideans with Cirrostratuses. You don't technically have to do this, I just like being a little fancy. And basically, Cirrostratus can remove 2 fog counters from it to destroy any monster on the field. So one thing I like to do is I like to get 3 Cirrostratuses on the field, and then when I'm ready to end the duel, I activate each of their 3 effects, destroy all 3 of Jack's monsters, and then just tribute them for Neo-Parshoth and attack directly. So I don't have to worry about overcoming his monster's power if the Golden Ladybugs happen to be elusive. Can I activate Pot of Benevolence yet? No, there's no good targets. Okay. Let's go ahead and toss a Turbulence. You certainly don't have to do that Cirrostratus destroy all of Jack's monsters trick that I mentioned. Unless, of course, again, your Golden Ladybugs happen to be buried down towards the bottom of your deck and you're worried that you might not be able to charge up enough life points for Neo-Parshoth to deal over 10,000 damage in the first place. But it is a nice trick that you can use. Go ahead and send those 2 back. And we are now ahead of Jack on cards. So let's go ahead and swap the Acid Cloud for a Cirrostratus, because I can. And because there's really no reason to destroy any of Jack's spell or trap cards. Unless you're trying to fight him in a regular duel, where you actually want to actively attack and destroy his monsters, you don't have to worry about them. There's stuff like Powerful Rebirth, and oh, what else? I mean, obviously Synchro Boost. I feel like he had some other trap card. Maybe not. Maybe he only has Powerful Rebirths. Anyway. Oh, there's the Twin Sword Marauder, I just realized. So, Twin Sword Marauder, yeah, once per battle phase, if this thing attacks a defense position monster, it can make a second attack. Oh, could be direct attack. Good to know. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, it does piercing. So, a lot of Jack's monsters are very aggressive, in case you couldn't tell. I don't really know what sort of tips to offer if you want to duel against him normally. I would say maybe pack trap cards that could weaken his monsters and wait for him to attack. Alternatively, there are some cards that would give your monsters power boosts. Try that. Mostly, though, just be careful. Especially around that Red Dragon Archfiend, because that thing can be very dangerous if he gets it out early on in the duel. And that's actually another point, is that Synchro Boost increases a monster's level by 1, and the Powerful Rebirth Trap also increases a monster's level by 1. So one strategy that Jack will do is he will use it to revive a level 4 monster that you destroyed, turning it into a level 5, summon a Resonator that's level 3, create Red Dragon. Or, if the level 4 is still on the field, play the Resonator, equip something with Synchro Boost, tune for a Red Dragon Archfiend. So, that's all I can really say, is just if you want to duel him normally, just be very careful about letting him Synchro Summon, because his deck is very, very directly built to summon Red Dragon Archfiend as easily as possible. But if you're going for this sort of cloud install tactic, you got nothing to worry about. Gonna go ahead and use anti-magic arrows to make sure you can't do anything. And 18,300 damage to the face. Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, you also don't have to use balance. Because Jack is now available at the gate, you can use duelists from original Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Oh! GX to duel against him. So, anybody that has something like Draw Sense Water, Restart, I thought there was a Draw Sense low level, kind of, but that could get you a Golden Ladybug if you need a Cloudian, so that one's a little bit more of a gamble. Oh, I got a Scarlet Security. Cool. And, yes, just like I planned, we've got Jack Atlas available. So, we can check out his level up rewards after we check out the cumulative score rewards. Alright. I'm not going to be reading this just because I'm tired and my throat hurts a little bit, so, and I don't really want to do a voice, so. Yeah. You want to read it? Pause the video. I know that sounds lazy and kind of dismissive, but I don't want to read it. Alright, fine, let's watch for Dragon Archfiend summoning animation again. Why not? It is a very cool looking dragon, I will admit. Kind of edgy, but still kind of cool looking. Alright. So we got Jack Atlas. I'm willing to bet that his level 1 skill is, yep, Mark of the Dragon Wings. And that's the only way to use Red Dragon Archfiend at the moment. Which makes sense because it's a really strong synchro. Alright, so, looking at his cumulative rewards, there are, of course, the gems and the rare jewels, the items and the gold. At 110,000, you will get a copy of that awful, awful Taihon number 2. 170,000, you get some tokens to use in the duel. 300,000 is when you unlock Jack himself. More tokens at 480,000. At 580,000, you get a copy of Scarlet Security. Scarlet Security. Just want to make sure that's what it was called. At 1 million, we get these pretty cool looking card sleeves. I like the glow they added to Red Dragon Archfiend's eyes in those. At 1.8 million, you get a Flare Resonator, which, to be honest, is just a nice tuner all around because it just any synchro monster that uses it gains 300 attack. It doesn't have to be a specific one, so. And level 3 is a fairly decent level to work with. It's a very accommodating level for a tuner. At 3 million, you get the game mat. Also very cool looking. I didn't miss any. At 4.8 million, you get the copy of Strong Wind Dragon. And then at 5.7 million, you get an icon, which is looks like a cup of really spicy cup noodles. I think that's supposed. Oh yeah, that's like the red. God, that was such a weird idea from the 5Ds anime using what was that called? Like the Red Dragon Archfiend spicy noodle cup or something like that to lure out Jaeger. Like, oh my god, that was just so weird. Basically, if you don't get what I'm talking about, just watch through the second half of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds anime. Eventually you will reach this episode. It kinda makes sense. That's all I can say. Yeah, so that's all the cumulative rewards. And checking out Jack. See, God, I forgot how his dub voice sounds. I'm guessing he has that level 1. He has that level 1 tuner. So there's that. Most of these things are pretty bad as usual. But let's go ahead and see. So we know we get Red Dragon Archfiend, and we get Dark Resonator. This is actually a really good card. So Dark Resonator is a level 3 Dark Fiend Tuner, 1300 attack, 300 defense, but the first time this card would be destroyed in battle each turn, it is not destroyed. So if you happen to have this thing in your hand, you can at least set it, or let me rephrase that, if you have this thing at the start of the duel in your hand, you can set it, and unless your opponent swarms the field, you know it will survive that first initial attack, and then ideally you could then tribute it for something, or summon a monster and synchro for maybe a level 7 synchro monster. But very cool. Very cool. I like that they gave you Dark Resonator instead of one of the other Resonators. And I figured they would. Dark Resonator is kind of Jack's signature tuner anyway, which, to be fair, is probably why they made that part of the skill. Moving on. Level 3, we get copies of Red Dragon Vase. Okay. Interesting, but again, only useful for Jack, because he's the only one that can control Red Dragon Archfiend. Level 7, we get Dark Tinker, a level 2 Dark Fiend Tuner, 1000 attack, 1300 defense. Oh, I'm sorry, I just realized that I was leaning away from the mic. 1000 attack, 1300 defense. When this card you control is sent to the graveyard, look at the top card of your deck, return that card to either the top or the bottom of the deck. Okay. Kinda good. I mean, I'm guessing that also means if it's sent to the graveyard as a result of battle. So even if you can't synchro with it, you can at least throw it out there and try to fix your next card, maybe? Weird, but okay. So I do apologize again if I was very quiet for a little bit there. I didn't realize that I had leaned away from the mic. Level 10, we get another Red Dragon Vase. 11, we get another Dark Tinker. At 13, we get Heavy Starter, which, if you have 3 or more level 5 or higher monsters with different names in your deck, you will have a higher chance of having one of those level 5 or higher monsters in your starting hand. Makes sense. Level 14, we get Sinister Sprocket, a level 1 Dark Fiend Tuner, 400 attack, 0 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of a dark synchro monster, you can destroy one face-up spell or trap card. Okay. Doesn't work with Red Dragon. I think Red Dragon is a fire? I'm going to double check that really quick. I just want to see and make sure. There we go. Is Red Dragon a fire? I just realized I could have clicked on the skill from the side list. No, Red Dragon is a dark. Okay, so it will work with Red Dragon. You could do something with the multiple piece golem with that, now that I think about it. Because isn't medium piece... Well, no, medium piece might be a 4. I remember one episode of the anime where Jack used multiple piece golems effect to resummon the golems, and then he used Sinister Sprocket to tune for Red Dragon Archfiend. Anyway, level 16 we get a 3rd copy of Red Dragon Vase. 18 we get another Sprocket. 20 we get Beat Down, also makes sense for Jack. This turn, the attack of all level 5 or higher face-up monsters on your field increases by the number of monsters that are level 5 or higher times 300. So, makes your stronger monsters even stronger. Can't be used with Red Dragon because that is a skill, so makes sense. Ooh! Level 25, you just get a copy of Dark Resonator to use freely. That's pretty cool. Then at level 30, Dark Bug. Level 1 Dark Insect, 100 attack and defense. When this card is normal summoned, select and special summon one level 3 tuner monster from your graveyard. The effect of that monster is negated. Okay, that could make up the 1-star difference between, say, Dark Resonator and a level 4 that you control. So if your level 4 manages to survive a turn, normal summon Dark Bug, revive Dark Resonator from the graveyard, tune for Red Dragon. Okay. Interesting cards. Very interesting cards. Let's see, does he have any special skills? He does. So King of the Archfiends, this is a skill he can only get by battling legendary duelists or in the PvP arena. Until the end of the turn, one Archfiend Synchro monster on your side of the field gains 100 attack times its level. Skill can only be used once per turn. Alright then, so Red Dragon Archfiend can become a 3800 attack point monster. That's a little terrifying. I don't know if there are any other Archfiend synchros in the game. Oh, no, there has to be something else, because you can't use this with Red Dragon Archfiend. I'm going to check that after we look at the rest of his skills, because now I'm curious. He gets level augmentation, which, to be fair, most of the synchro summoning duelists do. You reveal a monster in your hand, select a monster on your side of the field, and the selected monster's level increases by the level of the monster you revealed from your hand. So this is something else you can do to increase or to help with synchro summoning. Level tuning kind of works the same way. You can only use it if your life points are at 2,000 or below. However, you select two monsters on your side of the field, declare a level between 1 and 4, and their levels change to what you declare. So again, used for synchro summoning. Mark of the Dragon Wings, which gets you Red Dragon and Dark Resonators. And then restart. Okay, that's not bad. I mean, annoyingly, you do have to get it from the PvP arena, but that's how most of the characters get it, so. Interesting skills. Very interesting skills. And that pretty much wraps up everything about the Red Dragon, or the Red Dragon, the Jack Atlas Unlock event. So I'm just going to take a look really quick and see what sort of synchro monsters have Archfiend in their name, because I'm very curious about that ability of his. Synchro. Nothing. Okay, that can't be right. Hold on now. Hold on now. Open up the card studio, card catalog, here we go. Maybe I just don't have it yet. Alright. Show me synchros. Show me anything with Archfiend in its name. Let me double check. Okay, yeah, it's not recording. Only this Scrap Archfiend. Although, fairly easy to summon synchro monster. Accepts any tuner and non-tuners. 2700 attack, and that King of the Archfiend skill would give it 3400 instead, so don't necessarily think it's worth it just yet, but if any other Archfiend synchro monsters come out, probably worth another check, so okay. I can understand why they kept a lot of Jack Atlas cards restricted. You know, why they didn't release stuff like Twin Sword Marauder, for example, because some of Jack's monsters can be a little ahead of the curve on power, but alright, yeah. With that, that's pretty much everything there is to cover regarding the Jack Atlas event. If I had to guess, there are probably... Oh, no, there's not. Okay. I was going to say that, kind of like the Trudge event had some bonus missions where you could win a couple of free gems by dueling as Trudge, synchro summoning his Goyo Guardian, and winning a duel with an attack from Goyo Guardian. I thought they would have done something similar with Jack Atlas and his Red Dragon Archfiend, but apparently not. So, there you go. I completely forgot. There is a card trader EX, so you can collect EX jewels and trade them for cards, but interestingly, few of them seem to be related to Jack. This was actually one of his previous reward cards. Apparently they took it out, but this is Descending Lost Star. This is a trap card. You target a synchro monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated, its level is reduced by 1, its defense becomes 0, and its battle position cannot be changed. So basically you use it to take an attack, or if you activate it on your turn, maybe then use it as synchro material for something new. Don't know. But the rest of the cards don't really seem to relate to Jack. Like, Dancing Fairy, Zero Force, and Hunter of Black Feathers, I think were all card flipper rewards. Scarlet Security and Power Invader are cards of Jack's. I want to say Heavy Slump was a pick your gift campaign. Same with Bitelon. Karud might have been another card flipper. And then Tyhone is a Jack card, and Extra Veiler. I think this might have been another reward card of Jack's that they took out. I can't remember, but the point I'm trying to get at is a lot of these cards don't relate to the event that's going on at the moment, and that seems very odd because that's usually what the Card Trader EX is for. Is that the EX jewels you win along the way, you can trade in for that missing copy of whatever card you want 3 of, or 2 of, or whatever. So it just seems fascinating to me that half of his stock doesn't relate to the event that's going on right now. But there you go. With that, we actually have finished covering everything about the Jack Atlas Unlock event. So, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you so much for your patience as I was rambling. I'm forgetting my outro because I changed it. Yeah, no, I'm drawing a blank. What else is new? I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next one.